Welcome to On the Move.
There's two different acts, and essentially we have a Petrie instruction, two for the jury. If it goes that far, otherwise we'll remove it. But there is him carrying the weapon. So there's all that occurred when he gets out of his vehicle, grabs the gun, and then about 30 minutes later when police interact. He has police interaction, and then I wouldn't say that's an intervening act that just cuts off the whole chain of events, because while obviously we agree that he had to touch the weapon to take it off his shoulder, we're not tending to argue that that was a way that he manipulated the weapon, or that when he re-picked up the gun. But I think it's important, and I think it's clearly relevant, that he spent, as the video shows, almost a minute and a half, if not more, reloading the weapon. Now I understand that the cops unloaded that gun, but they did it for a safety reason and to check the weapon. And when they told him to pick up his gun and secure it and be on his way, he didn't just go on his way. He could have picked up the bullets, I understand, and put them in his pocket or put them in a bag, as opposed to reloading them in a clip. He even alludes in the video, this is probably not a good idea, there's people driving by. And we have a witness that did observe that while he was filming, and that is Mr. Orthmeyer. And his testimony, if he's allowed to testify, is I'm pulling into the Big Al's parking lot. He was going to the fireworks stand with his son, and he sees this individual filming. It scared the out of him, and he peeled the hell out of there. It's, essentially what he had relayed to me. So we think that that's extremely relevant. Obviously, I understand the defense has a position on that.
So, Your Honor, a couple things, and I think that we need to break down our first motion in a couple different ways. In addressing the last point by the city, the statute makes it unlawful for somebody to carry a weapon or display a weapon in a manner and under circumstances. As the court had pointed out last Friday, the loading of that magazine is not carrying a weapon. And immediately after he loaded that magazine, what he tried to do was leave. And he also carried that weapon exactly the same way that he did prior to the police contact. So whether or not the loading of the weapon scared Mr. Orthmeyer is irrelevant, because it's not the manner in which he was carrying the weapon. The manner in which he was carrying the weapon was the same before police conduct, and it was the same after. And his intent was to leave. There's nothing unlawful about loading his magazine. And the city can represent that the officer's intent was to unload that magazine for purposes of safety. But I think it's clear that it was for purposes of more annoyance than safety, because you remove that clip from the magazine from the gun, there's no concerns. Right? They didn't tell him don't reload that. They said gather your things and leave, and that's what he did. His interpretation of gathering things and putting them back together as they were before the police took them apart, I don't think is unreasonable for the city to actually ask this court or a jury to hold him criminally liable for those actions set up by the police unloading it on the ground, and it not having to do with the manner in which he's actually carrying or displaying the weapon. It's not relevant.
I guess just the two things is, one, I think that's something that again goes to argument, that they're allowed to argue in front of the jury whether or not it was his actions or the cop's actions when they unloaded the gun. But I think that is relevant. Furthermore, I do think, and it is our position, that reloading a gun under those circumstances near that gun is contained within the elements of the statute. That's part of the gun, the magazine is, as well as the ammunition. So it is exhibiting or displaying. Now, I don't know if I'd go as far to say at that point he's carrying a gun if it's laying on the ground, but I still think they're one and the same. The magazine, the ammo, and the gun are one and the same. So I would argue that because of that, that is an element of the crime, and then therefore it becomes relevant, and defense is again free to cross and argue.
But all Orthmeyer, he said he saw him at Burgerville, or saw him outside of Burgerville.
Outside of Burgerville.
So
Thought it was weird, and then saw him later.
It's strange enough, his wife is the manager of the Burgerville, so he was there just getting a bite to eat and then was on his way to the fireworks stand, and it was prior Actually, I don't know if he quite got into the parking lot, but that's when he saw the defendant again. He said it looked like he was filming, and it looked like he was reloading his gun. I got the heck out of there because I was with my son, and got out of there quick.
Yeah, you can talk about seeing him the initial when he saw him, but the reload, not relevant. I don't find that would fall under the statute. So as far as him reloading the magazine.
I'll be detained right now, officer.
Let me see your ID.
No, thank you.
What's that?
No, thank you.
No, thank you?
No, thank you.
Okay, why are you saying no, thank you?
I know it's my Fourth Amendment right. I don't have to show you my identification.
And one of these books that I want to discuss is this book right here. It's called Founding Brothers. It's written by Joseph J. Ellis, and I really found this book to be really informative. It helped me out a great deal in understanding the founding of this. Really comfortable too. That's one thing I really like about this bag, is the comfort level of it. But anyway, so let me move on here, and we'll start showing the back here, show the features. First thing first here, we got the front of it.